All right. Good morning, afternoon, evening, whatever it is that you are listening to me at. Happy day. Welcome to a new episode of Superhero Deep Dive. I am your host, Jason. And before I get into anything today, I do have to give my normal disclaimer that these sources that I've pulled are from various places across the internet and may or may not be completely complete, but they do give a really good insight on the current superhero. And yeah, um, it's just a really good way to get into it. And if you want to call me out for being wrong about anything, you are more than welcome to. You can always reach me on Twitter at b4 it all one, or you can email me directly at b4 it all at yahoo.com. Now, I did get a special request for this episode. It was a hero that I remember vaguely from the 90s, and there wasn't a whole lot on it, so this is going to be fun. You know, we'll do the information, powers, if there's any relationships, if there's any kind of fun facts, and then we'll get to my favorite part, which is the reimagining of the superhero or the power expansions. And this week I'm going to talk about Living Lightning. He was a hero popular in the 90s, not too popular, but just popular enough. His real name is Miguel Santos. Um, this is a guy. He grew up fine. His dad was part of a extremist group called the Legion of the Living Lightning. And you know, Miguel wanted to clear his father's name. Um, just that kind of rigmarole. He got caught up in some stuff while he was investigating the group. He was kind of in their compound or whatever, their headquarters. He unwillingly or unwittingly, not unwillingly, accidentally turned on a machine that kind of gave him, it kind of like bathed him in this energy that turned him into the living embodiment of lightning. So he literally became the living lightning. Um, when this happened, you know, he was kind of, he didn't have control of his powers. So he ended up fighting the West Coast Avengers, which is basically the Avengers, just LA version. They had people like Hawkeye, U.S. Agent, Scarlet Witch was a member for a while. I don't think Iron Man was necessarily. I think it was War Machine. He was a member, but it wasn't like the main roster. It was kind of like it wasn't even the Wish.com version of it. It was just their kind of B team. Um, but he fought them, and he was supposedly killed in the conflict. Um, Somehow he survived, probably because he's living lightning, and it wouldn't really do his name any good if he was dead lightning, would it? So um, he survived. He was ended up being captured by a villain named Doctor Demonicus, which is just the perfect comic book villain name. Um, and he was forced to join a group of supervillains called the Pacific Overlords. He didn't really want to do this. He was kind of convinced to do this, and while he was in it, he decided to help the Avengers when he could. So he helped kind of defeat them. Later, he joined the West Coast Avengers, and he stayed on as a reservist so that he could help when he was needed, but he could also focus on his college studies at the same time. He was a student at UCLA, so that was kind of a big deal for him. Um, he really kind of dropped off the grid. He was here and there for a little bit. During the Civil War event, he was on the Captain America side that didn't believe in registering, But when it was all said and done, he ended up registering to be as a superhero, and he was placed in the Texas team called the Rangers. The Rangers had people like the Texas Tornado, Living Lightning. Um, oh man, I can't remember any of the others. But they were all kind of, it all just kind of fit that motif. Uh, this one's funny. He almost joined the Great Lakes Avengers, which, if anyone knows anything about the Great Lakes Avengers, um, they are a team. They're not really Avengers. They just keep using other superhero names, like team names, and saying they're kind of offshoots of it. Like, they tried to be a branch of the X-Men at one point too, I believe. So, they're just kind of these random superheroes. Don't really do a whole lot, but they're great. They call themselves a GLA. Living Lightning tried to, he went over to join them, and he ended up turning them down because he originally thought the GLA meant the Gay and Lesbian Alliance. So when he did that, he actually outed himself as a homosexual. Like, it was kind of interesting. It was kind of groundbreaking at the time. And the writer for it, whose name is Dan Slott, was interviewed about Living Lightning coming out. And basically, he's like, he's gay, get over it. He said that even though, like, he dated women in the past, he didn't really come to grips with who he was. And I personally, I think that's perfectly understandable. Like, people's sexuality and their kind of identities as far as that aspect goes. A lot of times it's a journey, and especially if we look at it, Miguel Santos, he's Hispanic. We can probably gauge. It hasn't been stated that I've seen in any of my research, but it can probably be stated that Hispanics for a large part are Catholic. So that's kind of a big no-no in Catholicism. So we can see him having his own battles with that. But yeah, so that's really it for him. He's not super well known, which I love. I love the fact that he's an obscure hero. But I mean, there's just not a whole lot of information on him at all. His powers, he can transform into living lightning. With that, he can fly at sublight speed, generate electric bolts, and he can do that when he's in his normal human form as well. And he can also use the electric field to kind of create like a force field. So, that's pretty cool. It's a pretty cool power set, and I don't think he's been given enough justice lately. So yeah, just think of anything to do with lightning, he could probably do it. He can charge your phone. It's just whatever. It really hasn't stated that it hasn't been stated that he's had any relationships. I'm sure he's casually dated people, at least according to the writer, Dan Slott. Because he's had girlfriends in the past. He's dated women in the past, but I haven't found any real info. So when stuff like that happens, it usually tends to be more like civilian life. Like, he hasn't had any workplace relationships. So there's that. I didn't really have a whole lot of fun facts about him. When I saw that he came out as gay, I believe it was in 2005. And I know North Star came out as gay, and he actually got married in 2012 in the comics. So I'm not sure if Living Lightning predated North Star as far as coming out and being a homosexual superhero. But if he did, that's pretty cool, and he should definitely get that recognition. If not, he should still get that recognition for being one of the few out there that is openly homosexual. Even if he meant to do it or not. Because I think when he went to the Great Lakes Avengers and thought it was a gay and lesbian alliance, I don't think he meant to come out at that time, but it just so happened. Like he hadn't really come out to anyone, and then he realized that it wasn't what he thought it was, and he was kind of figured out at that point. But either way, he's still out there in more ways than one, and he's doing what he does. Didn't really have a whole lot of fun facts. My favorite part of the show is the power expansions. This can be great. Like, we have a Hispanic hero. Let's take out the fact that he's gay, and I'm not diminishing it at all. Like, I'm just saying, like, let's not make that a big thing right now. But let's try to figure out, like, something with this power set, like the living lightning power set. To me, that's insane, because he's actually been able to go and travel to space, to do like a satellite reconnaissance mission, and he can do it without really any effort on his part. It's real easy for him because he just turns into electricity and flies up there. So, if we have all this, what's really popular or not really popular? Let me rephrase that. What is really prominent in the Hispanic culture that maybe doesn't have to do with Catholicism? Like the Mayans, right? Like the Mayans or the Incans. And please, if anyone is Hispanic and is listening and I am getting this wrong, please forgive me. It's not my intention. I'm not insulting, demeaning, or criticizing the culture in any way, shape, or form. This is speaking from a place of creativity and mixed with a little bit of ignorance on it. So, I'll fully admit, if I get it wrong, let me know, but let me know respectfully, because it's not meant to be malicious at all. But what if he was bathed in that energy that turned him into living lightning, and it turns out that he's actually like given the powers of like some kind of reincarnated Mayan or Incan god. Because we have Thor, the god of thunder. What if he is literally a Mayan or Incan god of lightning? Like, how cool would that be? Like, his power set could be immense. He could do all these huge things. Like he could be a heavy hitter on a galactic scale. And he could kind of open the doors to aspects of the culture that aren't well known. So he could be written in that form or fashion. We could totally incorporate the fact that he is homosexual in it, and maybe I really don't know. Like, so please, I'm just shooting from the hip. But what if the sexual preferences were a little bit more fluid back then? I don't know. It would it could open up the doors for stuff like that. What if when he was trying to come to grips with his homosexuality, he was limiting himself subconsciously with his power set? So what if he fully embraces, like, there's a story arc where maybe he's visited in his dreams or something by the actual God. And as he embraces who he is, his powers increase. And he becomes this insane hero, because there are heroes out there that, like, say Gladiator, for instance, from the Shi'ar, or the Shi'ar galaxy in the Marvel universe. His powers are directly proportional to his self-confidence, which is just kind of crazy. So what if it's something similar with this? Like, what if he ends up being stronger than, say, like Magneto with the power level? Because Magneto, he's been told, like, he can create black holes or wormholes in space. He can detect even the most minor of shifts in the magnetic wavelength or whatever. So what if he was able to do stuff like that? What if we expanded this to where he became, like, insanely overpowered because he embraced who he was? What kind of message would that send to the youth of today that are struggling with their identities, whether it's their physical identities, their gender identities, their sexual identities, just in general? And what if it even became a fact that he embraced who he was, which was a hero, a man, and a homosexual. So it wasn't all about him being a homosexual. It's just embracing who he is as a person. Because that way you don't get accused of alienating or pandering to a specific group of people. Vice versa. Because if you pander to one, you're alienating another. So, like this could be a great example. And he's Hispanic, so he's a minority. There's so many avenues that can be taken with this that I think could really expand the character in a fun way, but also make him just beneficial to the community around. And what would that say for Marvel? Like, one of the things that Marvel has gotten criticized for lately is creating characters that are fitting stereotypes of, like, gender identities and things like this. I don't have an opinion of it because I haven't done the research on it. I grew up in the 80s and 90s, so those are the comics I know. And I do remember Living Lightning. I always liked him. I thought his power set was cool. I always thought he had a really good heart, like the way he was written. He just wanted to do the right thing. So what if he becomes Marvel's version of Shazam, basically, and he becomes this big guy that no one ever realized. And then as he's doing this, we can have him team up with Hercules, have him team up with Thor, have him team up with some of these other guys like Moon Knight, for instance. There's just so many avenues that we could explore his character with. What if he even did something, with, like, Ghost Rider? Because I don't know if it's the current Ghost Rider, but I know at one point, Ghost Rider was a Hispanic guy that drove a car instead of a motorcycle, if I'm not mistaken. I just feel that right now the world is being kind of pushed into all these different directions socially, and the world is crying out, like, it is begging for more representation and better representation. In my opinion, and once again, this is just my opinion, so it means exactly how much you paid to listen to this podcast. You paid nothing. So, but, I think that instead of creating new characters to explore some of these, we should take established characters and not ruin their backstory, not damage that at all. Just expand on it to where it can fit. We have a prime example of a Hispanic homosexual that is going to college. He chose education over heroism. And we can explore that. Maybe his dad came over, so maybe he's like a first generation, and it's really important to his family, or his community, that he gets a college degree. So, like there's so many stories with that we can still expand on. What if, we have this minority character that is going and he is showing that he can hold his own against the big guys like Hercules and Thor as far as godlike powers. What if he ended up going against Thor, like just working with him, and he was, how Thor can channel lightning through his hammer? What if he's able to work with Thor and, he gets this respect that maybe he didn't have before? It's just, I don't know. I just feel like there's so many stories that can be told, and it's not like anyone can blame Marvel for like, oh, you're just changing this character, or you're making a character to pander to this person. This guy's been out since 2005, according to my research. So there's nothing to pander to. Just use them. You have the tools there. You have them. Use them. Have him be amazing. Put him, like have him be in one of the next movies, like one of the next generations. What if he ended up meeting Kate Bishop, because I know that they're doing another Kate Bishop movie for Hawkeye. What if he meets her and they start talking and she develops like feelings for him, and he actually comes out as being homosexual. So they end up having this insane friendship working on superhero level type problems, but they're also both young and impressionable and dealing with their normal lives that kids of that age would struggle with on a normal basis. And then you're adding all these things. I mean, you're adding so many layers of realism into this fantasy world, which is just great. So let me know. What do you guys think? Where should we go from here? Do you have any requests? Do you have any comments, critiques, questions, thoughts, inquiries, random musings? Let me know. Use the hashtag superherodeepdive. You can reach me on Twitter as well at b4itall1, or you can email me directly at b4itall@yahoo.com. Yeah, let's talk about it. Let's explore some of these characters. Who else would you like to see represented? Who should I do a deep dive on next? Let me know. I will open the floor, and we'll incorporate what you guys want in as well. So let me know. I'm gonna head out for now. Everyone be blessed, be happy, be smart, and if you're not smart, don't get caught, okay? All right, I will see you later. Bye-bye.